Hello everyone, this is my second review of the D&D Adventure League modules that are ran for Adventure League. Today we'll be covering 7.2, which is actually a unique adventure, as in it is built like an intro adventure most other seasons had, but it was for Tier 2. It has an APL of 5. It is 5 adventures. It rewards no magic items. And it rewards no good story awards. With how Tier 2 Plus works, you are kind of limited. Well, Tier 2 is mostly the biggest grind. But if you want to work on faction rank, you got to run stuff that gives secret missions. And wasting XP on doing something that gives you net nothing pretty much. Because at this point, besides wizards, no one needs gold. You have really better things to do. So this adventure really is kind of meh. It was just kind of cool that it set up the whole entire thing for exposing people to Chult and the Death Curse before any other Tier 2 adventures came out, because they essentially released them back. This was released in August, and the next Tier 2 thing that came out, I believe, was December. So you had September, October, November, 3 months of waiting to actually do some other Tier 2 stuff, and they were all 2-hour modules and 6-hour total. So it was really not that great. While like season 3 with the demons, pretty much it was a module that they could run you all the way from pretty much from beginning of tier 2 to tier 3 with it. If not, it would drop you off at 10 and you could use downtime days. Although downtime days is something you want to hold on to. So anyway, this one works pretty much exactly the same as most other intro modules work. There is a mission from every faction, whatever mission whatever faction is for. Anyone in that faction will get a renown. Everyone else does not get anything. It is decent though if you want to stock up on downtime days, because this is 1 hour modules, and each 1 hour module gives you 5 downtime days. So essentially, you are getting double downtime that you would normally be able to get. So I'm not gonna for this part, because this is a non. Everything gives you 1,000 XP maximum, 750 minimum. Of course, if you're using Meat Grinder, you get 10% that goes over, so you can get 1,100. And from what I can recall, it is generally pretty easy to get max XP from each adventure. Everyone who gives you the rewards, actually, you pretty much don't deal with any of the NPCs that were part of the tier 1 module, although they are mentioned. You deal with this girl named Pozana Lordo, who is, let me remember, she is a Chultan mercenary. So she gives you all the assignments, and essentially it's supposed to take a 10-day to get to each location. If anyone had died and was suffering from a death curse, they would be dead if you ran it as is. For the most part, people just kind of ran each one as its own day, so it was just one day. But it says in here that every travel is 10 days, so that means you would lose 10 max HP to each location. So you lose 50 max HP, possibly even more, maybe, because it's 10 days to get there, and then it would be a 10 day to get back. So that's 20 days. Jeez, it was not very thought out, that part. at all. So yeah, there are 5 mini adventures, 1 hour play, designed for APL 5. Generally, not very hard. There is some traps. There's a little bit of everything. There's exploration, solving puzzles, avoiding traps, doing fights. A little bit of social. The third one has some social in it, and the second one has social too. Fourth one, no social. Fifth one, that one has a little bit of social, but it's not really that big of a deal. I ran this all at Dragonflight before they officially came out by a week. Actually, I ran it before when for my Wednesday group just to get a feel for it. And the third one can be really tough, and the fourth one too. First one, it's not that bad, although there is some max HP drainers in it. The Emerald Enclave, never had a problem with it. And I never really had a problem with the fifth one, but I have a friend DM who switched out the one of the mages in there with a diviner mage, and he says that that makes it a lot tougher. So if you want to put a little more tougher stuff in there, you can switch some stuff up as DM discretion. So at this point, so pretty much my whole entire thing is this adventure I would not suggest running at this point. There is really no reason. You are better off doing some Guild Adept stuff and the other tier 2s. This really nets you nothing, because nothing was done with any of the story rewards you get from this. Or if you really need downtime days, I guess this would help. But other than that, it's kind of no magic items. It's gold. You could probably get better elsewhere. So at this point, I'm going to go into spoiler stuff. So if you don't want to see any spoilers, stop the video at this point. Alright, so spoiler time. So essentially you get called into Port Nazaro working for Pazana Lordeau, and she basically gives you kind of the fill-in of everything. She kind of tells you where every location is. You're supposed to set up a base of operations as you investigate further into what's going on with the Death Curse. This is totally dropped and never mentioned ever again. So unless this is kind of a reference to Camp Vengeance, if you go into the book, there is Camp Vengeance, and it's pretty well known, so I don't think that's much of a spoiler. I mean, it's on the map and everything. But other than that, nothing else was referenced. Really, I think Camp Vengeance was set up before Death Curse was a thing. So, first area is a large clearing. That's for the Large Alliance. Second area is a fortress that was carved in the rocky side of the mountain. Emerald Enclave was sent there. Third area, Zhentarim went to investigate. Fourth area, Harper's. Fifth area, Order the Gauntlet. And she offers you 200 gold for each site. And I believe it is... Oh, it's per character. So it's 200 per character. So it's not that bad. So 200 per character, you go out and investigate it. Honestly, though, at this point, the fighters should have their 1,500 gold they need for a plate armor. So this would probably not be a big deal. But whatever. Characters do it for money. So first one, you go to a clearing. You fight a bunch of skeleton minotaurs initially. And then they explode in a shower of bones. This actually, I forgot this actually was kind of dangerous with the explosions, because it weaken, like that's 8d10 damage spread out, and I always roll everything. I never take the averages. It's not fun. I like to roll my dice. and that is fun for me. So I always roll it, and I'm pretty quick at adding, so it's never been a big deal. Although I had one instance where a kid got angry because I rolled too good on damage. So then you get to this other part where you do an investigation, find a secret entrance, and you head down to this underground chamber, and there's 4 traps. And so, if they do not find this trap, they have disadvantage on initiative rolls in the final thing. So this is something you have to remember for later. You have to remember that all the players are disadvantaged, and I'm pretty sure they're going to throw a fit when they find out that they have disadvantage on the final combat. So you go out, and there's an outer ring, and there's altars on each side, and pretty much, I'm not going to go into the specifics, but each one is pretty obvious what you need to do for it. And in the middle ring, you do a fight. You find these chambers. Yeah, so you find the chambers. You find it like you find a skull on the outside. There's a skull on the outside wall. You do something to that skull, it goes up, shows a second chamber. You find another skull, and finding that other skull unlocks, helps unlock the central chamber. Once you find all 4, central chamber unlocks, and there's 3 whites, which aren't that great, really. I mean, they have the chance to hit you with the drain attack, but their chance to hit is a +3. I'm right? +4. +4 to hit. So generally, and if you look at the map, it's right there. It's a very narrow. Let's see if I can zoom in a little. Ah, I know. But if you zoom in, it's only it looks like a 10-foot wide area. So you could choke point them, stick 2 of your people with the highest con in the front, and they can weather the hits for the most part. Although I think when I ran this, the barbarian surrogate at the time. No, I didn't have them, but that was for other stuff. We had a barbarian surrogate, and he was horrible at making con saves. And I actually recently ran an adventure, and I realized sometimes players roll bad, and something that was supposed to be super easy turned out to be super hard. And 4 angry snakes. So this one you have some chatting. You go there, you find a bunch of peaceful Yuan-ti, which is weird, especially since this was released uh, after Follow came out, and it's pretty much Yuan-ti are emotionless things that pretty much want to recreate their society. It is very weird they would have regret or anything like that. So this whole entire thing of that. Yeah, so not long ago, a clan, part of a larger clan, they wanted to worship Dendar. Being born, looking more human, the leader of the clan decided these corrupted human should be killed in tribute to Night. So basically, I guess this one, Kashika, she basically didn't like how her own were getting sacrificed. Possibly was influenced by Ubtao, which they kind of have tons of references that Ubtao's still around, although he's supposed to have abandoned this place. I mean, the surrogate for the warlock is a Yuan-ti who is being contacted by Ubtao. There's a little thing where you can help them out with a person who's sick. And then, let's see. So with this one, there is no story. First one was no story reward. This one actually has a story reward. You basically set up a trap for the larger clan to attack you. Generally pretty easy. Mind Whisper, maybe. He does psychic damage, but at this point, level 5, not a big deal. In the final tier 1, when I get to it, that Mind Whisper is a big deal. So you get potion of vulnerability, potion of poison. You get this honorary clan member. So it does nothing. Totally dropped, forgotten about. This I have not found any use for this honorary clan member store reward. So a little thing about this. So their magic resistance, remember that. But they have generally low AC. So they're pretty easy to hit, have a lot of HP, have the magic resistance, so generally people would be willing to hit them instead of trying to cast at them. And this only happens 2 times a day though. That's a lot. 3d10 poison damage. So if you hit someone, don't forget to add that 3d10 poison damage in. And they have really weird that a Pitmaster has all this. Invisibility, that's a good way to do it. Like you would have the Pitmasters be invisible when they head in, because you have one of them comes in, is invisible. Maybe someone tries to cast something to stop the other, do something nasty to the other things, and you can counterspell too. Misty Step, Vampiric Touch. That's pretty much the best thing you could do if you really wanted to mess with people's have them show up invisible. And I think the Mind Whisperer. No, she doesn't have it. So you have the Pitmaster be invisible. Then you can do the Hypnotic Pattern. Crown of Madness is garbage. All she has really is the Hypnotic Pattern. Charm Person's okay, but you're already in combat, so everyone has advantage against that. Yeah, detect thoughts, expeditious. Yeah, so the only thing Mind Whisper is good for is this Hypnotic Pattern. She has Mind Fangs though, which is 3d10 psychic damage. Suggestion is always great. So you could just suggest and tell someone to stand in the corner, and they'll do that. But a Hypnotic Pattern is a lot better for the most part. You can start off with a Hypnotic Pattern, and then if everyone gets out, Suggestion, because he can suggest, she can suggest, they can suggest. That is one way I totally captured a party with Yuan-ti. Suggestions. Here's a map. Although generally the combat just takes place here. Most of this other stuff, nothing happens in. Alright, bargaining coin. So this one's nasty. Because everyone likes to smoke the toad. And they basically go to this place. To Zhentarim, their mission. So this mission, very simple to do for the Large Alliance. You kill the final boss. He has they find this medallion, and it's easy. There's nothing behind it. And then this one, you're supposed to throw dust off the top. Easy. This one is also easy. You give a potion of animal friendship to the people, to the farmer. And it's from Pokemon Poe. Although this is very out of characteristic for Poe after the fact, because Poe's very extravagant, he wouldn't do something like this. I would think that he would send one of his girls, servant girls, to deliver the message. So this is very uncharacteristic. It's kind of a thing that I've been noticing is the writers do not coordinate beforehand on what things are and how things are. And so they between adventures things can be very different, or things could just be dropped and nothing could become of them, which is one of the main issues with this. This adventure, there's a lot of things that are brought up here are never brought up again, and that's just kind of how it is. So you go there, you meet these people, they're very nice, but they're actually warlocks of the Archfey, and they like to capture people and dominate them and make them slaves. You can't do that in this adventure. Uh, people will they don't have the capability to turn people into slaves, so it's just kind of whatever. So they will try and convince people to do a fight, and they'll offer you some money to fight a fire-breathing dragon, smoke some tobacco. The tobacco gives you 10 temporary hit points, but you automatically fail the next wisdom or charisma saving throw. So this is a big deal, which I'll get into in a bit. So basically, you get the smoke. If you refuse the offer, you just have disadvantage. And if you smoke, you also have disadvantage on all those saving throws for 24 hours after you fail the first one. So they may attempt to sneak around for the warlock's preparing a feast. So it's kind of brought up. That's kind of brought up a little that they are trying to talk. If the characters relay the news, farmers will act shocked and play along. They grow suspicious of the adventurers if they are act hurt, confused. If the farmers grow suspicious of the adventurers, they act hurt and confused and would generate sympathy, kinship. Once the conversation escalates, the farmer threatens to take the lot of you out back. So you might sneak around. You can find these things. Bottles of wine in the cellar that have been replaced with false wine bottles containing custom ledgers, correspondence bills, code-named individuals throughout Chult. I don't know anything about that. If you look around the bedroom, after the whole combat, you find 3 potions of resistance for psychic damage, which would have helped for this part. So if you go in the backyard, you find these 3 other people. Upon entering the back, you get ambushed by the 2 guardians, which are bandit captains. These are actually the Zhentarim, and these are actually Zhentarim members, and you should bring that up. Like, ask the Zhentarim member of your party if you haven't noticed them to uh, do a perception check, and if they were all good enough, they can notice that the patient has like Zhentarim tattoo or marking on them, because you're supposed to keep those alive. When afterwards, you defeat the warlocks and the bandit captains. Um, so basically, with the warlocks, they have the charm person spell, and because you instantly fail the first charisma or a wisdom save because of smoking tobacco, you could pretty much charm the whole entire party in one go. It will be really rough combat, and that's why it's really rough, because essentially bandit captains show up, they can focus on one person, everyone else is charmed, so they can't do anything, and then you just boom boom boom. This one's a really tough combat, uh, if people accept the offer. So after that, you get 2,000 gold if you rescue everyone. If you don't kill any of the bandit captains, and you get 200 gold. So this is actually pretty 2,200. That's pretty profitable. And 1,000 gold is pretty easy, especially if you rescue each hostage. If both the captains are alive, that is 400. Returning with evidence, 500, 750. So it's like, yeah, it's super easy in this one. Zhentarim get a thing. You get to keep the potion of animal friendship. If you do the searching around it, they can find that potion of resistance. Yeah, so Blink, Charm Person, Dimension Door. Blink is actually not a bad idea, especially if people start breaking out Charm Person. but you can't use blink while charm person up because you go to another plane and your spells end if you go to another plane. So, and then dominate beast is pretty much useless. Fairy fire is pretty good. Fear is pretty good, and actually that is probably actually what you would want to do. You would want to fear them, so that since that would get everyone to run away and hold monster too. That's a wisdom saving throw too. So you can hold someone and then fear everyone else, and they're done. Sleep is useless. The depressed rooms. This one is pretty. So there's a puzzle. You have to follow this puzzle, and it's not generally. To enter the room, today's clue is this: the first generally follows the second, often while you're getting covered by the third. So this is relatively easy. There's a bunch of elements around the outside. You list them all out. You easily figure it. If you fail, everyone within 20 feet of the tower takes 20 damage, which really should be the party, unless someone's really just being a lone wolf in a corner. So, pressing it in the wrong order causes the damage to happen. You go on the ground floor, there's nothing there. You go up, and there's a stairwell in the middle. You go all the way to the top, there's no door, but there's a door in the middle. So you go in the door in the middle, there's combat, and hidden, though, on there is a bunch of secret hidden teleportation circles which teleport you up to the third one. And this, if someone actually steps on it, you can engage both of the combats at the same time and possibly have someone really end up badly. Because on the top one, you're dealing with this evil spirit naga, and it with two bards, which are harpers. So same thing as the Zhentarim. Mentioned that they're harpers with a successful charisma check. And here it is. It shows also on the top, there's a teleportation circle here, which will teleport you up to the second floor here. And then there's a teleportation circle here, which teleports you up to the top floor. And on the top floor, there's these three things. And if you are on those things, and I believe with the Naga. Okay, so 3 squares, radiant magic. A creature in the adjacent can use an action to empower it. Empowering deals damage to all the creatures in the square with the damage based on the square. Are they labeled? They're not labeled. So you have to label them. You just pick element, because there's a fire one, a necrotic one, and a thunder one. And oh, actually it's listed here. Really it should have labeled it here too. So then you could, or maybe out here, so then you can figure that out. So there's a spell book, has a few spells in there. That's cool. Those 3 scrolls, that's pretty cool. Burn the Harpers, that's your mission. Super easy to do. Let's see. And so you got the archers, and the archers are just wicked. So they have a +6 to hit. And you can choose 3 times a day to either add a d10 to their attack roll or damage roll. So attack rolls for hard to hit people, damage rolls for people who are easy to hit. And berserkers just reckless to go out all out. They have low AC but high HP. They don't have berserking though, so they just take straight damage. Spirit Naga, blight, phantasmal killer, lightning. It has a bunch of nasty spells. So you could possibly start off with a dominate person to get someone under control. Then you could blight someone for a lot of damage. You could put lightning on someone, lightning bolt to hit a bunch of people in a row. She can also, the Naga could also try to haste, although I don't think it'd actually be good for them. Haste wouldn't be that great. For the bards, they can taunt. You must see or have disadvantage ability, so they can taunt someone, and if they fail the charisma save, which is actually a pretty easy charisma save, they have disadvantage on ability checks, attack rolls, and saving throws until the start of next turn, which can be really nasty. And they have Shatter, which can be really nasty, and Thunderwave. Healing Word, although I really feel that like Heroism might be better, but Healing Word, they can do a heal from range, keep Naga up. And this one, fifth one, Order Gauntlet. You get 2 vials of holy water. You're supposed to sanctify the thing. Super easy to do, nothing to worry about. You go to the Ubtao Shrine, where there's Terrafolk and dinosaurs. You defeat them. There's Were-Tigers inside. Turns out the Order Gauntlet members who were sent ahead of time got pinned in with these Were-Tigers, accepted the Were-Tigers' lycanthropy, became Were-Tigers, and now are servants of worshippers of Ubtao and will stay with them. But they are totally scared that something bad is going on beneath them. You go down below. There is an enchanter with 4 hobgoblin iron shadows, which, as I said, guy changed it into a diviner because enchanter, it's not that great. And so they will try and ambush you. You have to make. You can either choose. Oh, this one actually says that you can make a perception check, but I would say that heading into the room, they should make the perception check. If they just head straight into the room without doing anything, then they get surprised. So the symbols on the floor have been tainted by the worship of Dendar. Next to the symbols, so let's look at the map. So there's, I guess it's these 3 symbols. No, it does look like cracks. It must be these though. It has to be these. These are the symbols. So if people are next to them, they take extra damage from everything. If they're standing out, they have an advantage of saving throws and do an additional. So if have been the symbols etched in the floor. They don't say where they are. So if you dedicate them to, so you can use a fire holy water or a religion check to rededicate them to Ubtao. You have to do this to all 3 symbols. They lose the benefits. Dendar worshippers lose the benefits they had, and all attacks against them have advantage. But you have to do all 3 symbols. So once you defeat them, Grateful Beyond Words, you get a bunch of money and some potions of water breathing, which are decent considering what happens in tier 3 and tier 4 modules. And you get chosen Ubtao. This this one might have some play out. I don't know. I tried to make my DM that I play with try to make it work. Like, oh, I am a chosen Ubtao. These people should worship, or not worship me, but like me a lot as my character, and he just kind of downplayed it. But if you have a cool DM, when you're doing, if you decide to do the book after this, or do this in the middle of the book, this might actually have some effect because they are worshippers of Ubtao in different areas. Alright, so that was me covering all this. Yeah, the enchanter. Let's see what is the enchanter. Instinctive charm. 30 feet. That's pretty close. So the attacker makes a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the attacker targets the creature closest to it other than enchanter or itself. Both the attack. It doesn't say anything about if there is no other creature nearby. But this also recharges if you cast any enchantment spell first level higher, which it has charm, person, suggestion, Dominate Beast. Hold Monster is not, I don't think it's an enchantment. Let me pull up my book. But yeah, so anyway, that's kind of that with this. Oh, here's, so it's only 2 story awards. One from the second one with the Emerald Enclave, honorary clan member, totally worthless. This one, Ubtao, could be worth something. It depends on your DM. This one, expect mileage might vary. With that, thank you for listening to my second review of modules. Hopefully, everything you find this informative, and I will be back to actually start covering the tier 1 modules proper, the tier 2 2 hour tier 1 modules